honorable members of Parliament, fellow citizens, we gather here today not only to reconvene a legislative session, but to recommit to the solemn duty imposed upon us by the Constitution to serve the people of Ghana with honor, vigilance, and integrity. Yet, I must confess, this Parliament resumes amidst grave constitutional anxiety, rising public distress, and a government that seems to be on autopilot. A government either asleep at the wheel or entirely indifferent to the suffering, insecurity, and institutional corruption engulfing our republic. Let us begin with a matter that strikes at the very soul of our democratic architecture, the independence of the judiciary. How do we reconcile the constitutional seriousness of such a determination with the glaring political entanglements surrounding the petitions? The entire process is cloaked in opacity, infected with conflict, and dripping with contradictions. It insults both constitutional logic and the intelligence of the Ghanaian people. This is not constitutional governance. It is a calculated weaponization of constitutional mechanism. It is not justice being pursued. It is control being consolidated. If this House fails to interrogate this moment with seriousness it deserves, then we too risk becoming complicit in the slow suffocation of the judicial independence in Ghana. Let us rise firmly and without fear to affirm that our judiciary must remain beyond the grasp of partisanship and beyond the reach of political retaliation. Equally frightening, Mr. Speaker, is the growing abuse of the coercive powers of the state. National security operatives, some acting with impunity, have taken to raiding the homes of former appointees, members of Parliament, and ordinary citizens with the faintest provocation. We are dangerously close to becoming a republic where state power is weaponized, not for protection, but prosecution. Mr. Speaker, I must now turn attention to most troubling development in our nation's foreign affairs. Just yesterday, the Minister for the Foreign Affairs, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, with the reported blessing of President Mahama, announced the closure of Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C., citing allegedly corrupt practices uncovered by a ministerial audit team. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear. Corruption must be confronted, but such confrontation must be lawful. It must be measured and aligned with Ghana's long-term diplomatic interests, and not reckless, knee-jerk, or politically performative. It is an astonishing and deeply regrettable decision that the government's response to internal administrative failure is to shut down one of our most important missions abroad, even if only for what they call a few days. This embassy, located in the capital of the United States, the world's most influential nation, is not a district office of a private company. It is a sovereign outpost of the Republic of Ghana. It represents the face, the dignity, and the credibility of our nation. To shatter it abruptly because a single staff member was caught engaging in criminal behavior, conduct that could and should be prosecuted without disrupting diplomatic operations, it's not just excessive, it is diplomatically amateurist. Mr. Speaker, the ministry decision has already caused confusion and distress to Ghanaians abroad, many of whom rely on the embassy for consular services, visa and passport renewals, and critical documentation. It sends a dangerous signal to the international community that our government lacks the institutional maturity to isolate wrongdoing without imploding on the entire system. It also fuels perceptions that Ghana is unstable in its diplomatic governance and unstrategic in managing scandals. Moreover, how does a government that claims to value national reputation explain away with a dramatic act to its foreign partners or multilateral agencies given to the U.S. State Department? What assurances can we be given to the U.S. State Department, investors, or multilateral agencies headquartered in Washington, D.C., that Ghana remains a reliable and stable diplomatic partner? No other serious nation reacts to an internal administrative fraud by collapsing its entire embassy structure, unless it is filled straight or one deeply unsure of itself. Let it be stated unequivocally, this House would not allow such recklessness to go unexamined. The Minister for Foreign Affairs will be summoned before Parliament without delay. How and why such a sweeping measure was taken without prior consultation with the House, and whether the Council of State, the Cabinet, or even the President's Foreign Policy Advisory Team was involved in any form of deliberations. Accountability in foreign service is not a slogan. It is a national imperative. The diplomatic credibility of Ghana cannot be subject to unilateral experiments. Parliament must and shall intervene. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy is gasping. Statutory funds such as the District Assembly's Common Fund have been starved, crippling essential services and suffocating our metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Contractors across the country have abandoned critical infrastructure projects. Roads remain half-built, bridges incomplete, schools and hospitals stalled because the government has simply refused to honor its obligation. Businesses are hurting. Citizens are stranded. Meanwhile, as the nation reels, the president recently departed the country without the basic courtesy or constitutional obligation of ensuring that executive authority was properly transferred to the Speaker of Parliament in his absence. A power vacuum was created at the very top, not by accident, but by design. It is a gross dereliction of constitutional duty. Security across the country has deteriorated. Armed robbery and murders have become the order of the day. Ghanaians sleep with one eye open, while their government appears blind to their fear. Mr. Speaker, recent media revelations have cast an unfortunate shadow on this House. Allegations of questionable payments made to members of Parliament for legislative work must not be swept under the rug. If this House is to maintain its integrity, then transparency must be our shield and accountability our sword. On the energy front, let the records reflect Doomsaw is back, and it has returned with viciousness that reminds Ghanaians of our darkest power crisis. Under President Mahama's second coming, the lights are off. The people are suffering, and the economy is bleeding. The pain doesn't stop there. The Ghana city has seen recent signs of appreciation, but prices remain stubbornly high, particularly in shipping and transportation. Many major operators are still quoting dollars that defy the Bank of Ghana's official benchmarks. Who protects the Ghanaian consumer from this brazen exploitation? Certainly not this government. Mr. Speaker, our cities are choking, literally. Waste from homes and industries lies unattended as the government fumbles over sanitation contracts. The garbage does not care for bureaucracy. It piles up, breeding disease, disgust, and despair. Floods have already killed at least 5 people, displaced 3,000, and destroyed properties worth millions. The rains have not yet peaked. Where is the National Emergency Response Plan? Where is leadership? But while we speak of water rising in cities, let us not forget the tragedy unfolding along our coastline. In the Ketu South, Kata and Anglong constituencies, the sea continues to violently reclaim entire communities. In Amuchuni, in the Ketu South constituency, for example, the town is being alarmingly washed away by tidal waves. Families have been rendered homeless, livelihoods have been shattered, and many citizens have lost everything they once worked for. This is a humanitarian emergency, and it is inexcusable that government actions has not matched the scale of the devastation. We demand immediate and sustained action beyond the mere presidential photo op to complete and extend the sea defense walls. Anything less is a cruel betrayal of our coastal citizens. In our schools, law and order are collapsing. Reports of students attacking teachers and each other, some with offensive weapons, are alarming. NAGRAT, in a desperate cry for protection, has served notice that its members may begin carrying weapons to school. Mr. Speaker, if teachers must be armed to feel safe, then the government has failed. Full stop. President Mahama's much touted Mahama Cares initiative must also be brought to account. How much has it been raised? How has it been spent? In a democracy, benevolence does not exempt one from scrutiny. More troubling still is the President's response to violation of the assets declaration regime by his appointees. Rather than refer them to SHRAC, as the law requires, he chose to pressure them into donating 4 months of their salaries to the Mahama Care Fund. This is not charity. It is a blatant breach of Constitution. No president has the power to substitute lawful sanctions with presidential pet projects. Mr. Speaker, we must also address the scandal of the presidential jet. Despite a fully functional jet inherited from the previous administration, the president continues to travel aboard his brother's private aircraft. The vice president was recently flown home on a private charter, once again snubbing the state's own jets. If these flights are gifts, they violate the president's own code of conduct of ethics. If they are paid for by the state, let the receipts be published. If they are paid for by Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, then the country deserves to know what is he getting in return. Mr. Speaker, the Electoral Commission must immediately declare the results of Ablekuma North parliamentary contest. 5 months since 2024 election, the people remain without representation. Even though credible evidence suggests that the NPP candidate won, the EC must be supported with security, but they must not be allowed to delay democracy. As for promises made, we are watching. The president assured Ghanaians that the COVID-19 levy and other punitive taxes would be repealed. We await action. We also demand a bold, decisive declaration of an emergency to tackle illegal mining, which has surged under this administration. Mr. Speaker, fellow Ghanaians, Parliament is not a ceremonial gathering of elites. It is the living expression of the sovereign will of the Ghanaian people. When judicial independence is threatened, when power is used to terrorize citizens, and when the executive flouts the Constitution with impunity, this House has a duty, not a choice, to rise in defense of the Republic. To remain silent or neutral is to betray our oath of office. and to signal complicity in constitutional subversion. Parliament must therefore assert itself with clarity and courage, now and not later. This House must no longer serve merely as a conveyor belt for executive business. We must become the firewall between democratic survival and authoritarian drift. Ghana's parliament was designed to check, not cheer, the president, the executive. That design is being dismantled before our very eyes. When the president circumvents SHRA, undermines asset declaration law, and creates parallel justice system through political donations, Parliament must not look away. We must speak with one voice and demand that the rule of law, not rule by discretion, governs the Republic. We in the minority may stand in numbers that pale in the shadows of the enormous. But let it be known and let it echo from the chamber to every corner of the nation. We will not cower before the force of the majority. We will not be bullied into submission. We will continue to lead the charge. Resolute, principled, and unwavering in every committee, on every floor, and before every tribunal of public opinion. We serve as the Republic constitutional firewall, and we will not permit the perversion of our democracy under the government to go unchallenged. Parliament must also reclaim its power of oversight. We must establish and enforce rigorous accountability mechanisms to track statutory funds, presidential travel, donation under the Mahama Care initiatives, and all actions taken under the guise of public interest. Where there is opacity, we must shine a light. Where there is impunity, we must demand redress. It is not enough to ask questions. We must insist on answers. Our committees must be empowered. Our debates must be sharper, and our resolution must have teeth. Finally, let us remember that the legitimacy of this House is tied to the confidence of the people. If we fail to act when the judiciary is under siege, when lives are lost in floods, when teachers are forced to arm themselves, or when public service collapses under unpaid debt, then we risk becoming irrelevant to the very people we serve. Let this session of Parliament rise to meet the moment. The time for caution has passed. The hour of constitutional vigilance is now. For emphasis, Mr. Speaker, this Parliament must not be a footnote in the story of Ghana's democratic decline. We must rise, speak, act, and where necessary, resist.
Honorable members of Parliament, it is with a deep sense of responsibility and commitment to our democratic ideals that I stand before this august House to join the Right Honorable Speaker and my colleague, Deputy Minority Leader, to open the second meeting of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. This meeting is taking place during a pivotal moment in our nation's history, a time of renewed optimism under the dynamic leadership of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government. His visionary governance has restored faith in our democratic institutions, reinvigorated our national spirit, positioned Ghana as Africa's shining beacon of progress. Mr. Speaker, the transformation is palpable across every sector of society. Our market women now trade with renewed vigor. Educators stand proud in their profession. Farmers embrace their vital role with assurance. Students pursue knowledge with greater determination. The business community operates with restored confidence. Even political opponents like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia have been inspired by this new wave of renewed optimism. Beyond our borders, Africa looks to Ghana as a model of democratic renewal and economic resurgence. Our remarkable economic recovery has become the subject of continental admiration, signaling Ghana's return to its rightful place as a leader among nations. This is more than mere political change. It is a national awakening that promises to carry Ghana to new heights of prosperity and influence. Right, Honorable Speaker, I am proud to say that this renewed hope of the ordinary Ghanaian is the result of the work that we did during the inaugural sitting of Parliament. During those 42 inaugural sittings of this Parliament, which spanned 11 weeks, and despite an overwhelming presence of many newly elected members of Parliament, the House achieved an unprecedented feat. We swiftly passed 11 critical bills to implement the critical promises made by the NDC to reset the Ghanaian economy. The obnoxious electronic levy was done away with, and so was the carbon emission levy. We repealed taxes on lottery winnings and the 1.5 withholding tax on unprocessed gold from small-scale miners. We removed the VAT on motor vehicle insurance policies. We increased the levy on gold mining companies from 1 to 3% of gross production and extended the levy sunset to 2028. We removed or raised caps on certain statutory funds to allow full allocation to priority sectors. So Ghana Education Trust Fund got more money for education. National Health Insurance Fund got more money for healthcare delivery. And Road Fund received 100% of their due allocations to better support road projects. I vividly recall the unwavering commitment demonstrated by honorable members of this House, who sacrificed sleep and personal comfort to work tirelessly through the night in this very chamber. Their dedication bore fruits in two critical legislative achievements: the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board, a landmark institution that has brought much-needed regulation to our nation's gold industry; the timely passage of the appropriation bill, a crucial piece of legislation that not only authorized government expenditure, but also guaranteed a seamless financial transition during the delicate period following the election of a new administration. These examples stand a powerful reminder of Parliament's essential role in safeguarding our nation's economic stability and democratic processes. When duty calls, this House has consistently risen to the occasion, putting national interests above all else. The meteoric vetting and approval of all 56 ministerial and deputy ministerial nominees saw the fastest setting up of government by any democratically elected president inaugurated under the Fourth Republic. Even before new and young MPs could settle in their seats, they started asking questions and raising issues affecting the lives of their constituents. 170 motions were moved and adopted. Newly approved ministers responded to 41 questions. Members and ministers delivered 90 statements on critical national and constituency matters. The House held 82 committee sittings. Because of all the policies, legislation, and quality of leadership installed by this House, in our first sitting, Ghana is being reset again. We have engineered one of the strongest currency rebounds in recent financial history. The numbers speak for themselves. 21% appreciation against the US dollar, 16% against the UK pound, 41% strengthening versus the euro, where $1 traded 14 a few months ago. Today it exchanges at just over 10.94 Ghana cedis. This isn't just statistics. It is translated into real relief for Ghanaian families. The strong showing of our Ghana cedi is resulting in significant reductions in fuel prices, in commodity prices, in food prices, and in the prices of general goods and services. Right, Honorable Speaker, there is a new force and a new myth in the management of our economy and finances. It is called Forcenomics. This House must support our indefatigable Finance Minister and former leader of this House, Honorable Kesel Atuba Forson, to continue along the lines of fiscal prudence and his dogged pursuit of appreciating the Ghana cedi, reducing inflation and prices, reducing interest rates, and revitalizing our private sector, renewing hope in the Ghanaian. While many challenges remain, this sitting will focus on pursuing fiscal prudence, economic consolidation, the private sector revitalization to strengthen Ghana's financial stability and growth. It is in our agenda to receive the mid-year review of our budget. Members will recall that this House approved a common fund formula that demanded that 80% of the fund should be sent directly to the assemblies. The Finance Minister will bring an urgent statement on the guidelines to govern the utilization of the funds. He will also make other far-reaching statements on the financial sector. A bill to convert the Ghana Investment Promotion Center to the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority will be presented to the House. A Ghana Deposit Protection Amendment Bill will be laid to enhance the existing legal framework and to meet international standards and to better protect depositors. Greater clarity to our exemptions regime will be seen in an Exemptions Amendment Bill. Several bills and regulations in the financial sector are in the works and will soon find their way to this House. They include a Customs Amendment Bill, an Income Tax Amendment Bill, a Private-Public Partnership Regulation, Fees and Charges Miscellaneous Provisions Amendment Regulations, Revenue Administration Amendment Regulations, and an Exemptions Regulations. Other requests will be made of this House to pass economic agreements, loan agreements, tax and duty waivers, and the consideration of statutory reports. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, the new doing of accountability, is busy preparing prosecutions of massive looting of public funds under the SWAL MPP regime. Even as he is busy in this regard, Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayini will bring to this House a new Conduct of Public Officers Bill, a Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Amendment Bill, Economic and Organized Crime Office Bill, Ghana Industrial Property Office Bill, Intestate Succession Bill, Legal Education Reform Bill, Legal Profession Bill, Notaries Public Amendment Bill, Presidential Transition Amendment Bill, State Property and Contract Amendment Bill, and a new Tribunals Bill. By the time we finish passing these bills, the legal architecture of Ghana would have received a significant overhaul. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Attorney General will also introduce several subsidiary legislation. They include the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Regulations, the Court of Appeal Rules, Economic and Organized Crime Office Operations Regulations, Economic and Organized Crime Office Terms and Conditions of Service Regulations, High Court Civil Procedure Amendment Rules, Interpretation Regulations, Judicial Service Terms and Conditions of Service Regulations, Legal Aid Commission Regulations, Supreme Court Rules, and very significantly, removal from office of Justices of the Supreme Court Rules. The President, John Dramani Mahama, is determined to fast-track legislative reforms to strengthen our institutions of governance and further entrench our democracy. The President is committed to legislative clarity with transparency when it comes to the constitutional mechanics of the removal of justices of the superior courts. The Minister for Education, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, will bring to this House a Scholarships Authority Bill, a University for Development Studies Bill, a Ghana Book Development Council Bill, a University of Engineering and Agricultural Science Bonsu Bill, and an amendment to the Colleges of Education Act. Pursuant to Education Regulatory Bodies Act, the Education Minister will submit for approval by the House a number of legislative instruments related to the National Teaching Council, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, the National School Inspectorate Authority, and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection will bring before us a Social Protection Bill, a Child Justice Amendment Bill, a bill to amend the existing Domestic Violence Act, an LI for the Social Protection Bill, and an LI for the Affirmative Action Act of 2024. Honorable Emmanuel Amakofu-Bua is expected to present a bill to review the Minerals and Mining Act, submit all mining leases for consideration for ratification by this House. This House sends a clear signal that it will no longer tolerate the practice of major mining undertakings occurring without valid parliamentary approval of their leases. We take a serious view of the matter and will hold the Minister to his promise. Equally, the Minister has expressed his readiness to present 132 timber utilization contracts to pave way for the issuance of forest law enforcement governance and trade licenses. We wish to commend the Minister for Mines for the significant revenues raked in by the mining sector. This Parliament believes that enhanced accounting for gold produced in Ghana and received in foreign countries has become imperative. Ghana continues to suffer from under-declaration of gold production. In this sitting, the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources will be tasked to look into this matter. The Minister for Transport will bring the long-awaited road traffic amendment regulations to legalize the famous Okada business, and the road traffic amendment bill to make provision for the appropriate allowable age of Okada riders. A new Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority bill will be presented with a view to harmonize the relationship between the Shippers Authority and the Maritime Authority. An Inland Water Transport Authority bill will request this House to legislate the establishment of a new Inland Water Transport Authority. We will be requested to approve several international agreements in the transport sector. The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs, our own colleague Honorable Ahmed, will bring the University of Local Governance and Development Bill, the Land Use and Spatial Planning Amendment Bill, and several allies to upgrade districts and municipal assemblies. Please be on the lookout. A Chieftaincy Act bill is in the works. Legal work to repeal the various development authorities and appropriately transfer their functions and projects and assets will be brought by the minister to this House for approval. Let me use this opportunity to commend the minister for successfully filling in the vacancies of offices of metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, and the inauguration of a large number of those assemblies. Local government authorities are the greatest catalyst of development. The appropriate committees of this House with responsibility for critical functions of local government authorities will be tasked to carry out extensive visits across the country to keep an eye on the assemblies. We will continue to fight for greater devolution of resources to the assemblies. Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minister for Energy, John Abdullahi Jinapor, will present several critical proposals to this House aimed at transforming Ghana's energy sector. Petroleum sector development will see proposals seeking ratification of a petroleum agreement involving GNPC, Exploco, and TriStar Upstream Oil and Gas Limited. He is proposing measures to facilitate over $4 billion investments in that sector. He will introduce legislation to restructure the Ghana Petroleum Commission and the PURC. Regulatory framework for modernization will be proposed by the minister. He is proposing to repeal and reenact the National Petroleum Authority Act. He will present a nuclear power cooperation bill to establish a regulatory framework for nuclear energy development in Ghana. And he will submit a renewable energy authority bill to promote renewable energy initiatives in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the efforts to reform energy distribution sector, Mr. Speaker, the electricity distribution, he will seek parliamentary approvals when necessary to implement the multiple lease model in electricity distribution. He is also proposing legislation to realign the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's mandate. This ambitious institutional transformation agenda requires robust legislative backing. In addition to these executive bills, several private members' bills are being finalized and will be introduced during this sitting. Mr. Speaker, some of the ministers are yet to present to us their proposed legislative programs in this meeting. Mr. Speaker, the President in February appeared before this House and delivered his first message on the state of the nation to the Ghanaian public since assuming office on January 7th. A resounding theme of the message included the collapse of our institutions of democracy, our state-owned enterprises and corporations, and unbridled corruption. Right Honorable Speaker, during this sitting, the majority caucus will spearhead a rigorous pursuit of accountability in Ghana's public financial management. We will demand a full-scale parliamentary investigation into the handling of COVID-19 expenditures to ensure transparency in how emergency funds were utilized. Additionally, this House will revisit the unresolved Ajapa royalties deal and require a detailed update on the 190 million PDS scandal, a case of alleged fraud in power distribution that cost Ghana dearly under the previous administration. Furthermore, we will launch a comprehensive inquiry into the rampant sole sourcing practices of the past government, exposing how recklessness in contracting bled the nation's coffers while enriching a select few politically connected individuals. We will also summon Operation Recover All Loot, ORA, for briefings, particularly on the 36 financial cases worth over 20 billion United States dollars, including land-related fraud amounting to over 700 million United States dollars. The gravest danger to our democracy is impunity. If we fail to hold those responsible for this brazen plunder of public resources accountable, we betray the trust of every Ghanaian who demands justice. This House will ensure that the era of financial recklessness is met with certain and unwavering consequences. In the course of the last sitting, it emerged that some containers got missing at the Tema port, and further investigations revealed massive cases of reckless procurement at the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. The Minister of Energy promised this House a thorough investigation. We are waiting to be briefed on how far perpetrators have been held accountable. This Parliament must live up to its mandate as the House of Accountability. Right Honourable Speaker, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Kwesi Esiama, appeared before this House Committee of the Whole to provide critical clarifications on the controversial construction of the new central bank headquarters known as the Bank Square. What began as an $81.8 million project under the previous administration ballooned to an outstanding $250 million. A reckless expenditure at a time when Ghana's dire financial crisis had pushed the nation to an IMF bailout. Shockingly, it was revealed that $11.1 million was spent on furniture alone, despite the building remaining incomplete and unsafe for occupation. This House will thoroughly investigate this matter during the current sitting to ensure accountability and justice. The hard-working citizens of Ghana who took to the streets in protest against such blatant mismanagement of public funds deserve answers. Their voices must not be ignored, and their sacrifices must not be in vain. We will seek regular briefings from the Minister for Justice and Attorney General regarding ongoing investigations and prosecutions. The Special Prosecutor will be held to strict account for his mandate as well. Parliamentary committee hearings, similar to the United States Senate, will seek to unravel structural institutional defects that promote corruption and maladministration in our country. I want to assure the President that the Majority Caucus, and I believe this whole House, will pursue the agenda to reset Ghana with rigor. Right Honourable Speaker, it will be recalled that on the 4th of February, during a discussion on the 60th anniversary of the death of J.B. Dankwa, a voice from the backbench of the members of the MPP made an unsavory comment directed at a female colleague in this House. The voice was roundly condemned, despite some shameful efforts to equalize. The Right Honourable Speaker gave a one-week ultimatum to the maker of the statement to own up. That has not happened. We on the majority side will not leave the matter unresolved. The Majority Caucus will demand that all the MPP members of the backbench who were sitting in the direction where the unsavory statement came from should be referred to the Privileges Committee for investigation of a consent to breach the privileges of a member. The NDC Majority Caucus repeat our condemnation The NDC Majority Caucus repeat our condemnation of the unsavory comment made on this floor and regrets the incident as the lowest point in the life of this House in the last sitting. Right Honourable Speaker, the recess period was highly productive, as nearly all House committees either conducted oversight visits to their respective institutions and agencies or participated in capacity building seminars and workshops to strengthen their effectiveness. I am confident that our committees are now better equipped and fully prepared for the tasks ahead. The future of our democracy rests in our hands. While free elections and peaceful transitions are fundamental to democracy, it is the quality of governance between elections that truly delivers democratic dividends. As parliamentarians, it is our duty, particularly through our committees, to ensure these dividends reach the people. If we falter, democracy will fail our citizens, and the appeal of military adventurism may grow. Ghana will continue to stand as a beacon of democracy, delivering tangible benefits to its people, but only if we, as committee members, uphold our responsibility with diligence and commitment. Let me highlight the exceptional effort of some committee chairmen during the process. The chairman of the Health Committee demonstrated remarkable dedication by leading his team to inspect regional hospitals and some select district hospitals nationwide, gaining first-hand insight into the state of our medical facilities. Similarly, the Education Committee chairman undertook a comprehensive tour of 39 schools and universities to assess conditions in educational institutions. For my part, I led the delegation to visit all independent constitutional bodies, ensuring we remain fully informed of their operations, circumstances, conditions, and problems. Sanitation Committee Chairman and his team inspected key sanitation installations, engaged with local assemblies, while the Local Government Committee conducted an in-depth monitoring visit to the integrated recycling and compost plant facilities in the OT and Volta regions, evaluating waste management infrastructure and operational efficiency. I eagerly await committee hearings to address key findings from these visits. Additionally, the Gender and Social Protection Committee conducted welfare assessments at vulnerable care centers, including City of Refuge Ministries, HD Presence Orphanage, and Save Them Young Orphanage, ensuring the needs of our most marginalized citizens are addressed. All committees are expected to submit detailed reports of their research activities for the House's consideration. I am pleased to note that these efforts have not gone unnoticed. I have received numerous public commendations for the hard work and commitment displayed by our committees during this period. Looking ahead, Mr. Speaker, as we begin our second meeting, our mandate remains clear: to prioritize economic recovery, strengthen social protection, enhance security, and improve governance through targeted legislation. The Ghanaian people expect us to work with urgency and unity to address pressing issues such as youth unemployment, further reducing cost of living, access to affordable housing and reliable utility services, and better infrastructure. As representatives of the people, we are reminded of our sacred duty to uphold the Constitution, advance good governance, and work tirelessly to improve the lives of all Ghanaians. The legislative agenda before us is both ambitious and essential, covering economic recovery, social development, security, constitutional reforms that will shape the future of our nations. The Majority Caucus remains resolute in its commitment to constructive and bipartisan engagement, ensuring that the business of Parliament is conducted with integrity, transparency, and the utmost respect for democratic principles. We recognize that the strength of our democracy lies in robust debate, consensus building, and the pursuit of the common good. I urge all honorable members to approach our deliberations during this meeting with diligence, fairness, firmness, and a shared sense of purpose.
Some of these matters relate to allegations arising before those accused became members of this House. Others, regrettably, concern conduct alleged to have taken place while members are in the House. Either way, they raise questions that touch directly on the standing of this institution and the public perception of our collective integrity. Let me sound this loud and clear. Parliamentary privilege is not immunity from lawful inquiry. It is not a license to disregard the law. The immunities granted to the House and its members are designed to protect the independence of the legislature, not to obstruct justice. These provisions are institutional safeguards. They were never intended as escape routes for honorable members. Where allegations are raised, due processes must take their course. Our position and my position on this is unnegotiable. Parliament will not stand by while members are subjected to unlawful or politically motivated persecution. I've been an opposition leader for 8 years. I know what I'm talking about. But neither will Parliament offer protection to those who seek to misuse its privileges to frustrate legitimate investigations. I will not shelter anybody here in that direction. I remain committed to fully upholding the constitutional and procedural protections afforded to every member of this House. The dignity of Parliament requires that its rules and privileges be respected, but it also requires that we do not mistake privilege for impunity. No member can act as though the confidence of the electorate is a shield against scrutiny. Privilege is not impunity. Immunity is not invincibility. The law binds us all, and the law is the law is the law. Those who said, and the law is the law, did not complete the sentence. The law is the law is the law. That is the sentence. As we commence this meeting, let us, as we've been told by your leaders, rededicate ourselves to the work ahead with patriotism, unity of purpose, and collective resolve to secure the interests of the nation, always bearing in mind our solemn duty to the people of Ghana. To all honorable members, I extend my best wishes for a productive meeting. There's much to be done, and the public expects much from us. Let us give them reason to believe in this House. Let Ghana continue to be the oasis of peace and the model of democracy. Let this House show that it is the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic and the best of all. May the good Lord guide our utterances, our actions, and deeds. May He lead us through a productive second meeting of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic.